So being as though you're really just getting back out here into the free world, you know, how does that mentality transcend from the institutions to the streets?
I'm being a student right now. You see what I'm saying? I'm being a student. I'm just watching. I'm watching people that I admire and respect, my peers. I'm watching them. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of movements I see that I dislike, but I'm watching because for real, it's not about a dollar to me. You see what I'm saying? Because I want to live a legacy that beyond my generation, you know? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like today I see that we so at this rate because right now we got too much talent. We one of the top cities of the nightlife. You know, all our artists is running away from their own area. Mm-hmm. None of them ain't reaching back. You know, but I understand because you got to understand they trying to run away from who they really are. That's why a lot of them is not being respected in the entertainment world because they say, damn, if you can't sit up there and actually be embraced by your city, you got to be a fraud. But the talent is there. The talent is there with a lot of our young homies.
Right.
Not just that, you got a talent with it. Just like I always told you, you got to sit up there and fall in line to your talent. Yeah. You know, but sometimes a person actually will put some type of fort up and say, man, I don't want to deal with this because I don't want to deal with him, I don't deal with that. But you got a responsibility. The same life you live, you got a responsibility to get that back.
Yeah, I think we all do. No doubt. Let me switch gears real quick to our city. Shout out to the Our City team that's in here. So can you tell me what our city means? What's our city?
Well, when I was incarcerated, I didn't have a voice. I sit up there and used to sit up there and write you, Eon, I need you to help me, man, advocate this injustice. I sit up there and wrote the mayor at the time, you know, not just the mayor, certain councilmen, but
Prison Legal News,
but a lot of them sit up there for real. I never got a response. So being in prison, seeing that we from D.C., actually we don't have no quote unquote athletes or a so-called LeBron James or a Jay-Z who's representing our city. So we don't have no platform. We don't have no voice who can say, oh, this is what my homies is being pained upon. So I wanted to create a platform of wealth.
All right, some people get it confused, like our city is a clothing line. You know, what is our city, man? What does it encompass?
It's a culture's movement to bring bring worth to this city. Mm-hmm. Not just this city, because here's the thing. Every other city is going through what we went through. But guess what? They got advocates. Ain't too many people is caring about this city to speak about the injustice. It don't just got nothing to do with the crime of people going to prison. It ain't about people actually, they railroading DC prisoners so far away that you become foreign to your family. Mm-hmm. Look at the public housing. Look how Metropolitan Boys Club was eroded to become now dog parks. Look at the humiliation. You speak on that and you say this is about the city. People are not speaking on that. So where the youth is playing sports at? Mm-hmm. Where the youth is have something to escape from some abusive family, a dysfunctional family. I ain't really seen too many recreations no more. Mm-hmm. I barely see playgrounds. Every recreation center that we once had is a dog park now. That's a slap in the DC face.
The original DC, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, not to get too far off track, but what I consider the originals of us, you know, what you think that we could do?
Well, more so I could sit up there, you know, at once upon a time, I didn't give a fuck about the politics of the vote. We need someone who have a spine, you know, not become acceptance for the position about money. We need someone who have a spine, who speak about all this. Right now, DC is so gentrified, you know, you don't have no heritage no more. We don't even have identity no more. All you do is listen to our music. We still spitting the same shit that was being spit before I came to prison. You know, so therefore you got to understand why you think nobody ain't invested in us.
Man.
You know, they ain't seeing our identity. But in the feds, And there's no slap to none of my brothers that's in other areas. Everybody sit up there want to be like us. They talk like us. They inherit our slang. And my whole thing to come home to see these guys, but not their identity, or they're ashamed to spit their identity on wax. What do I pose? I was like, damn, wow. For all the things that we've been through. So you come home and you wonder, don't get me wrong, we sit up there, it's up in the nightlife. Everybody want to sit up there and come to DC and have fun. But we're our representatives. Not just the music area, the athletes. You don't even hear nobody really echoing, man, I'm from DC. Yeah. You don't hear that. And you don't see them actually coming to give back.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can all work on changing as more and more men come home and we got more and more ideas and preaching the unity and all of that. I mean, I think that's how we kind of engage to get some of those things done. You know,
that's the thing, though. You got to more so look at it. It's like we from DC got to stop wearing our feeling on our sleeves. You know, a lot of these guys out here is insecure. You know, okay, I understand beef, but guess what? You know what I'm saying? If it ain't worthy to go to the next life, next level, man, all I sit up there and say, man, get your money. You know, do business. Because here's the thing, you got everybody sit up there is keep on sending. They scared to get off their block, but they wondering why they not being successful. You got to conquer your city before you can sit up there and scale worldwide.
Right. When I was setting up for this interview, I was talking to one of the producers in the back, and he was interested in your story. He's followed your story before. I thought I was hipping him to something when I told him about you, but he was already aware of you. And he asked a question that I didn't ask, and I think that sometimes when I know the people that I interview, sometimes I skip questions that the person that don't know him as I know him would ask. And he asked the question, and I'm going to ask this question to you. He was like, man, you know, when they came and said it was time for you to go, how did you feel, right? But I want to add something to the question he asked, still asking the question. With that still in play, before you was released in the streets, it was a lot of rumors about you not being released, about different type of things. How did all of that come up to that day when they knocked on the door and said, oh, no, I'm assuming they knocked on the door. How did you get or become aware that it was time to go with whatever you was dealing with at the time?
Well, I was working out. So actually my cellie was a childhood friend of mine named Wee Wee. Wee Wee said, I just heard the police call your name, say, pack up.
Where y'all at? We had to call the name, explain, break that down.
Well, we locked down in the hole. Yeah, we were locked down in the hole. So I was down in the middle of the tier. So actually I just finished working out, so I was about to hop in the shower and get the sweat off. So when the police knocked at my door, it was like, White, you got 10 minutes to get the fuck out of here.
Just like that.
I was like, what? But it was so surreal, you know, I was immobile for a second.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to hear from you because I had all type of images in my head too.
Yeah, but, you know, at the time I was like, okay, let me pack the little bit of property. They're like, nah, 10 minutes. I was like, fuck that shit. Haul ass out of there.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to ask that. So how was that experience? You say haul ass out of there. Take me all the way to the airport.
Well, I'm going to just tell you, like, you know, a camper came and picked me out in the car. Everything was surreal. Right now, I haven't slept more than 3-4 hours. I still feel like, man, everything is so surreal. I'm actually, you know, this not something I'm being humorous about. I'm just giving facts. Man, I'm really actually afraid to go to a deep sleep because I'm afraid that if I wake up, I'm back in jail at account time.
Yeah. So it's like, it's for real is when you say surreal, it's surreal and something like, you know, it's a dream and not a dream. You don't know what it is, but you just got to enjoy it right now.
Exactly.
You know, I try not to get too religious when I'm doing anything, but, you know, it's the ayat in the Quran that you reminded me of when you said that. And it's what blessings of your Lord will you deny? So, you know, I guess you're in a situation where you really can't deny none of them right now, right? All right, well, I appreciate talking to you, and I know that we're going to have a whole lot more to talk about. I know we spoke about when some of our partners, specifically $1 Million Manual, man, he wanted to be here, and he said something about it. He said, man, when we get back, we got to do something again. And me and man had an interview over here with Young Jose. Shout out to them. But they had on all our city gear, and he was giving a lot of props out to
man, I definitely got to sit out there and shout out, man, and Jose for representing me outside my presence. I hope that soon, man, we'll collab on something.
Yeah, appreciate that. So can you just let everybody know where they can get our city gear? Because everybody not going to be able to pull up and get it from you.
So more so you'll be able to sit up there and acquire more so my gear through our city website, my Shopify page, or you'll be directed by my IG.
All right, we'll get that. It'll be added in. We got a big shout out to Kareem Mowat, super duper producer up in here.
Okay,
our homie,
Twin.
our comrade. Twin, although I didn't tell him, but we partners. Twin gonna take this file. He gonna edit it. He'll add everything to it once our team right here give it to us. So Twin will add every contact that need to be added to that.
Yeah, my salute, Twin.
And also, I would like for y'all to go to on Instagram, Lorton Prisoner Terror, so you can check out our film. We got a documentary on Lorton called Lorton Prisoner Terror. Where can they rent that at, Twin? I forgot. Vimeo, how do you pronounce it?
Vimeo and Amazon Prime.
News just came in. So Vimeo and Amazon Prime, you want to go check out Lorton. We're not glorifying a whole bunch of prison gladiator school. It's the history of Lorton, which is part of the history and part of the culture of DC, which actually leads me to my last question. Did you see or do you believe or feel that with the closing of Lorton, it changed the culture of the guys that were coming into the federal system and even the street culture in the streets of Washington, D.C.?
Well, I believe more so that it changed the culture of the streets because the youth don't have no one to identify their struggles. Once upon a time, you used to get on the bus or have your parents to go see you down Lorton. And the feds, man, the expense of traveling to seeing your family is too costly. Yeah. So you got to understand it's like without your, now, when I was young, you just missing a grandfather. Now you missing your great grandfather, your grandfather, your father, your uncles and your aunts. So you got to look at in the whole scale. By we not having no home base of where our family could sit up there and visit us, we become strangers.
I mean, so technically, you said something, and I want to make it a little bit more vivid for people to understand the struggle. For those of us that are fortunate enough to get a visit from our pocket or from our family's pocket, a person could spend $1,000 or $1,500 to visit you for one day. Would you say that's realistic?
Man, yeah, that's
I mean, a plane ticket if you in Colorado, Atwater, Beaumont, a plane
it's
ticket,
more than that.
Hotel.
I'm saying $1,000, yeah, you could say, but it's gonna be costly than that. Because you got to understand, you got to eat, and then you got to understand, Uber costs too. So if you're sitting up there taking an Uber to the penitentiary,
that's $45 sometimes because there's no hotel right across the street.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's definitely a lot of money. But I want to use that opportunity you say that to speak on something because at one point in time, and you can vouch for this too. At one point in time, we had a thing called Free the Real Friday on Instagram, and I used to send homies money, books and pictures, which I still do through other avenues. But scammers came out and they began to question and attack that whole movement as fraudulent. Do you recall, and shout out to you because a lot of people don't know that Tone was one of the first people that encouraged me to do this whole DC Blacks thing. But do you remember how you was in? Do you remember what I told you was being done with the money in the Free the Real Friday?
Yeah, you were sitting up there actually more so donated to the men in prison.
Do you recall any men in prison getting their Free the Real Friday money?
I remember many. Many of them told me to enlist their names to you.
I forgot that. Shout out to you. Yeah, you put a couple names on it. So anyway, I just wanted to touch on that because that has came back up. But other than that, man, I really just want to say welcome home again. Shout out to everybody that came. Our city movement is all our movement, just like the DC Blacks is all our movement. And, I just want to extend my hand and say, man, I appreciate you. I love you, big homie.
Okay, big homie.
And that's it.
All right, you big homie too, man. All right.
Thank you.